Right, in this video we're going to look at subtracting and adding mixed numbers. We'll look first at subtracting mixed numbers simply because really there's only one method that we're going to look to use for this, whereas with adding subtracting numbers there's two different possible methods, and we'll look at using the easiest one when doing that. But subtracting mixed numbers, we need to change the mixed numbers into improper fractions or top heavy fractions first. So the 6.5 is going to become 6 times 2 plus the 1 over 2. So 6 times 2 tells me how many halves are in 6 whole numbers. So that's obviously 12, plus that extra half is 13 halves altogether. In my 4 2/3, 4 multiplied by the denominator 3 tells me how many 1/3 are in 4 whole numbers, and then there's an extra 2 left over. So in my second fraction I've got 14 over 3. Now from here on out it's a case of following the same rules. We've got different denominators, so we're going to have to change these, and what I can do is change them both to 6's, because that's the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3. So 6 in both denominators. To change the 2 into a 6 I had to multiply by 3. Do the same to the numerator, so it's 39 over 6. And these are equivalent fractions because I've done the same to the numerator and to the denominator. In the second fraction we had to multiply 3 by 2, change it into 6. So do the same to the numerator, which gives me 28. And now subtracting the fractions, it's 39, take away 28, which is 11 over 6. We don't want to leave it as that, because at the moment it's top heavy, so change it into a mixed number. So my answer is 1 5/6. And that really is the best way of subtracting mixed numbers. So improper fractions, change them if necessary, and then do your subtraction. But do make sure your answer is in a mixed number again, rather than top heavy. Now if we look at adding mixed numbers, we can take the same fractions actually, or the same mixed numbers. So we've got 6.5. and this time we'll add 4 and 2 over 3. We can do exactly the same thing, so change them into improper fractions, do everything we did here, but instead of subtracting we would have added these two numbers and then change it back into a mixed number. But the only disadvantage in doing that is we end up with some big numbers here in the numerator, which not too bad on these ones, but it can get more awkward. So instead of following that way for adding, the way I'm going to do it now, you don't want to do this if it's subtracting, it's only for addition. What we can do is treat the whole numbers separately from the fractions. So the 6 plus 4 gives me 10 whole numbers. And then separately we'll add a half plus the 2/3. So adding the half and the 2/3 again, we need to change the denominators. So that'll change the 6's again. Two times 3 gave us the 6, so we'll do the same to the numerator, 1 times 3. And in the second fraction, again this time we did 3 times 2 to give us 6, so do the same to the numerator, 2 times 2 is 4. So when I add the two fractions we end up with 7 over 6, which is the same as 1 1/6. But there was also a 10 if you remember earlier from our 6 whole numbers and 4 whole numbers. So what we'll do is add this on now. So the very final answer for 6.5 plus 4 2/3 is going to be 11 and 1/6. Again, on this method, we could have done just as we had done previously by simply going for top-heavy fractions. But to make it easier, keep the numbers smaller, I separated the whole numbers away from the fractions.